And we're live. Hello, everyone. Welcome to court case number 45, Survivor Michigan fans versus the editor of this past episode, Ian. With our candidate on trial is Ian, the editor of Survivor Michigan. Hi, Ian.
How's it going? How's it
Uh,
going? Happy to be here.
how do you plead in this case on, I
Well,
don't know, what do you call
what is the
this?
charge? What am I pleading to?
What's this case? Overhype?
Overhype? No.
Not overhype. That's the wrong
I
word.
plead
What's the word
not
I'm looking
guilty.
for?
Blue ballsing the audience.
There we go. That's the right word. A blue balls in the audience of a result that we needed.
I mean, I suppose in that case I would have to plead guilty, but um, I have my reasons, and I'm happy to go more in depth on as to why I decided to do it this way.
Yeah. So for anyone who doesn't know, first off, why are you watching this review? Second of all, the most recent episode of Survivor Michigan, episode 6, great episode by the way,
Thank you. Not everyone
ended in
agrees, so that's good to hear.
a cliffhanger where we got an amazing challenge, a twist, a lot of what I'm going to call strategy, and then right before tribal starts, it's when we get a to be continued. Everyone's favorite thing to watch when they're watching a series. So I think the first question is, what made you want to make this a two-parter?
Well, a couple different reasons. One of them was that I had always wanted to do a straight up cliffhanger in Survivor Michigan. Since going back as far as season 2, I always wanted to do it. I thought it'd be something exciting and different to do because um, I find that the regular pace of a Survivor episode, if every episode is the same and you always know what to expect, then you can't really like surprise anybody if everyone knows what to expect every episode. And yeah, in terms of like storytelling and just dramatic stakes, I think that when you set up something that you always expect to happen, to like rip it away at the last second, some people called it cruel and some people were very upset by it. And I get that when you expect a conclusion, but the conclusion's coming in just 1 week. It's not like it's gonna be forever or years and years of a wait. Um, and I thought it was a very exciting and dramatic thing to do. And this tribal in particular, um, there are so many different ways it can go. There's so many different variables up in the air that part of me thought that it would be better to give people time to work through what all is happening, because there was a number of people watching it live who were pretty confused by the end, I think, and probably needed to rewatch it a little bit to like fully grasp all the different agendas and schemes within schemes that are happening here. So it seemed like, it could be a good idea to give people time to like really get their grasp around the different things that are attempted to happen here before we see how they all kind of collide and what actually ends up. Um, in addition to that, the way that the next episode, some of it has to do with stuff that happens in the next episode that I can't really say yet, but thematically speaking, there's something that happened at this tribal council that I felt really needed to be in the next episode, not this episode, for the overall storyline. And I think that'll make a lot more sense once the next episode is out. And I'll be happy to like to openly say what that is, in like 2 or 3 days time after episode 7 comes out. But there were specific reasons that I really wanted the tribal in the next episode to be with the rest of the content for that episode. So I thought it worked thematically. I thought it worked better for a couple of the storylines. I thought that the fallout from this tribal works better if you've just immediately watched it. Um, and it was just something that I had always wanted to do. And I think that cliffhangers are a really exciting thing. When I was younger, reading stories or like watching shows and stuff, it's like an infuriating thing, but it's also really exciting to have that happen and to not be expecting it. And there's no way to do like a cliffhanger in Survivor Michigan, um, for where you weren't expecting it, except to do something like this, basically. There was other spots I debated doing it, but I thought this was by far the best choice to do it. Yeah, and originally there was a point where I was gonna give this episode 6 and episode 7 the same title and literally call them like part 1 and part 2. But I decided not to do that because that would have required putting the cliffhanger in a slightly different spot, which I didn't end up wanting to do. So that, again, I can explain that at a later date. But I think that there are parts of it that will be more clear after next episode. I think some people will still be annoyed by it. And obviously, I read the Discord, I read all the YouTube comments and stuff, and I saw some of the choice words people had for me. And, I do want to reiterate that I don't take any of it personally, and I appreciate actually that people care enough about the show to give it like serious criticism. That like when it does something they don't like, they feel comfortable saying it and saying I hated this, I don't like this, because the audience is ultimately a part of the viewing experience, and there won't be another cliffhanger, so it's not like this is going to convince me not to do it again because there isn't any plans to do it again. And this is like the last season I'm editing anyways, but maybe future Survivor Michigan editors will like lean away from it or lean into it based on this kind of feedback. And so I appreciate all the feedback, and I hope people still feel comfortable the rest of the season criticizing the show as much as they want to, because I think that is an important part of like consuming art. And if you're willing to put something out there, you have to accept there will be some criticism. So I knew it was going to be a controversial choice, and I don't have any problem on a personal level with people having a big issue with it, because I knew people were going to have an issue with it. So,
well, the one thing in this season that's not been taken personally.
Yeah, I don't take any of people's complaints about the editing and stuff personally. There was a lot of different ways to edit every episode. There's a lot of different ways to edit this episode, and this episode definitely made some controversial choices. And I totally get that. You already had about an hour into the episode, you think they're going to tribal, and there's already been this, twist that no, there's still way more. There's this whole Sarah and Jackson plan. There's a whole nother plan involving Kevin and Adam and all of this. And so, I get that it can come across as a bit much, but that is kind of what this week was. This week was a bit much. There was really no other way to do it.
Yeah, people were complaining that the premiere was 2 hours long, and now they're complaining that this episode was not 2 hours long. It's like you can never make them happy.
Right, exactly. Some people were like, there was plenty of time for the tribal. Like, we could have just gone to another 2 hours. And I was like, I mean, I guess it wasn't done for timing though. Like that, I will say, it had nothing to do with the timing. There was, if I had wanted to put the tribal into this episode, I could have found a way to make that work.
Yeah, if you wanted a 2 hour episode, you would have made one.
Yeah, as I already did for the premiere. So it's not like I'm afraid of doing that. I think at this point, it's pretty clear that I'm comfortable with these episodes being very long, even though I understand that might not be everyone's cup of tea. This is a really complicated story, and to do it justice, I felt like these are the runtimes I've been happy with. I'm happy with like where these episodes have turned out for the most part.
Yeah, and if you guys think it's too long, just skip the people you don't care listening to. It's what I do.
Whoa, don't do that. I could never advocate for that. There's lots of scenes that like seem unimportant until you get later in the season and realize it was very important,
One of those Easter egg scenes. Yeah, it's not like we're waiting also 10 months for the final of a season.
No, people in the Survivor Michigan group chat were joking. They were like, Ian, what if you made this the mid-season finale? And it had been like, all right, next episode is, 6 months from now or something. They were like, would you have, been just in a bad spot?
Still trying to remember everyone's names. That's a lot of people. Not
it
really
is a lot of people.
It's All-Stars.
It is a lot.
Yeah,
of people.
21 people. I mean, you wanted to make it 25.
I did. If it had been up to me, it would have been even more, just because I felt bad cutting people. But ultimately, the show probably would be worse if it had been 25, because I had enough trouble fitting 21 people in. I can't really imagine having to fit even more. But
and we wouldn't have the big drama of episode 3.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We would have had different drama. But
yeah, someone wouldn't find drama.
But yeah,
I was gonna say something.
But there was a lot of people unhappy with the cliffhanger. I understand.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't mind it. I just don't actually don't like cliffhangers, but I wasn't like, this ruined the episode. It was more like, damn it, I want to know now. It's just me being impatient.
Yeah, and like, I had some people who were saying to me, like, it just doesn't feel like a Survivor episode to have a cliffhanger. It just doesn't feel like Survivor. And my thing with that is that Survivor Michigan isn't quite Survivor. Like, it is a slightly different thing ultimately. It is slightly different than the real show. Like, the gameplay is similar, and obviously it's called Survivor, and there's aspects that are similar, but to a large degree, the show itself is a very different thing at this point. And that was always one of my goals, was for it to not just be like a straight ripoff of Survivor, and to do different things with the stories than they have done, or that other college survivors have done, was to make it feel like its own thing. And I hope that we've accomplished that. I feel like it's been especially clear this season that it's really trying to operate on its own terms as its own kind of show.
Yeah, the game Survivor and the show Survivor are two completely different things. I've always said that. Mainly with people saying they know how to play Survivor, and like, no, you know the show, not the game.
Yeah, I mean, there is definitely that aspect as well.
Yeah, I also watched the challenge. I used to watch the challenge a lot back when it was good, and they used to do this thing where they end every second episode on a cliffhanger, and you're just like, for God's sake, hurry up and just show me who goes home.
Yeah, I mean, again, if you did it every episode, then it wouldn't accomplish what I wanted to accomplish. So, like, that's another reason I wouldn't do it again, was just because you don't do the same gag twice, you do a different gag. And if people started expecting there to be cliffhangers, then the cliffhanger wouldn't surprise them. And when you can no longer surprise people is when you should stop telling the story,
Yeah.
And so with this All-Star season, I was like, I'm pulling out every last idea I've ever had for editing a Survivor episode. It's like everything in the kitchen sink. I'm using every idea that I've ever had is in this season, basically. And after that, I'll be out of ideas and I'll be done.
Yeah. Speaking of gags, we find out a gag this episode is that in this the next tribal that's coming up, 2 people are going home, but not in the traditional way. The 10 people that are going to tribal, and whoever the top 2 vote getters are both going home.
That's right. Yeah.
Now, I kind of don't believe this.
Oh, you don't believe it? Interesting. Well, but we always tell you the truth on Survivor Michigan. We've never lied to you. So why would you not believe something that we say?
Listen, I'm taking a book out of Jackson's. I don't trust production. I watch too much Survivor. Specifically, I also watch a lot of Australian Survivor. And they do this twist a lot, or a twist where it's like, we're sending people home. It's a joke, they're just heading to Redemption Island / doing a challenge to see who goes home. So that's what I kind of think is happening. I think the top 2 vote getters are going to go to an exile and fight each other, not physically. And whoever wins comes back into the game, and whoever loses goes home.
Interesting.
I could be wrong, because I even Googled okay, when was this film? When did this episode was filmed, and what was the most recent Survivor season, US and Australian? And
I believe Edge of Extinction was the most recent season at the time, and Island of the Idols was coming out while we were filming this.
Yeah, because I remember.
I'm not familiar with Australian, although I'm pretty sure that Australian, their first, have they done an All-Star season already?
Yeah, but All-Stars didn't happen when you guys were filming your All-Stars.
Okay. I remember there was some kind of Australian season happening around the time, but maybe.
Yeah, it was Champs vs. Contenders 2, and it was just finishing up when you guys were around this point. Yes, I Googled the dates.
Okay. Well, I mean, I guess we'll have to see. This twist, for me, it brought a lot of really interesting drama, and it gave a lot of opportunities to people who were more on the bottom of the game. And that, to me, is a good kind of twist. I don't like twists that benefit people who are already in power. I think that to make a good twist is one that helps the people who have less power in the game and makes it more interesting. And so to me, this is a good twist because it led to a lot of drama. And I do think it gave a lot of opportunity to people who otherwise might not have had it in a straightforward vote. 2 tribes go to tribal, 1 person gets voted out. I think you very easily just see somebody on the bottom go home.
Yeah, and they also 2 tribes go to tribal, each of them vote one of them off. It may have also been interesting with seeing how the tribes that did lose were. So just to back at the beginning, speaking of taking things personally, we say goodbye to Aaron. People are wondering why Adam's crying. Sam makes a hit list. We get introduced to the best character ever, Darlene.
Oh yes, Darlene. We love Darlene.
Yes, the real Survivor Michigan winner.
Yes. For more Darlene, check out the episode 6 bonus content, which should be dropping later today. So
And before we get to the one of the best challenges of all time, we get kind of hints to a Sam versus Cooper war in the future, sort of like a Rob Russell Hands, but with sort of like a Rob
interesting.
Russell Hands type war. Or
Interesting.
I'm trying to think
Yeah,
of
so I
another
mean,
war
Sam and
between
Cooper have
players.
been in an interesting spot this whole game, where they've both kind of been leading different sort of alliances, but they're both big threats, and they both don't necessarily. It's possible that the world isn't big enough for the two of them, and Sam is starting to realize that in this episode near the beginning, when he comes to find out from Megan that Cooper really had a pretty large role in Sam almost going home. Um, this is back in episode 3, obviously, when Cooper told Aaron and Dylan that Megan and Jackson were dating, and that Sam told him this, and it kind of suggested they use this information to get Megan to flip, which is ultimately what ended up happening. Now Sam is trying to repay Cooper in kind by attempting to straight up take him out of the game, and we'll have to see if that works out for him or not.
Yeah, we'll just have to see next week. And also before the challenge, this is kind of something I kind of want to talk about. Leia's reasons on why she hates Survivor. And just her entire game in general. So she hates the game because because the game ensues building relationships just to break them in the end, which I do kind of get. I don't know where I'm going with this conversation. I knew I wanted to complain about
Yeah,
it, but
I mean, there's been a lot of people out there I've seen, who haven't been a huge fan of Leia's strategy thus far. I think that part of it is that it is just who Leia is, and she, like Aaron to a degree, there are people who can separate the game from real life, and there are people who don't feel comfortable doing that, and there are people who don't believe that the game is separate from real life. And if you play a Survivor mini or something, or even like an org with a bunch of people you don't know, it's easier to make that separation. But if you're playing a game for 100 days, an entire semester, and the game never stops, not when you're out at parties with your friends, not when you're having people over, not when you're going out for drinks, and all these people, a lot of them are really close friends. So to a degree, I think that there is a point to be made that the game is become these people's entire lives. It consumes every part of their lives, including their relationships. There's people dating in the game, there's people who are best friends in the game, and there's people who have been friends for years. And if you know that playing Survivor is an important thing to them, to vote them out, is it not some kind of serious betrayal? And I think that there's different lines different people are willing to cross, and that's kind of what this season is ultimately all about, is who is willing to do what, and what do you need to be willing to do to win ultimately, and is it worth it in the end if you do? Are there lines that if you cross them and win the game, would it have been better if you hadn't, or vice versa? And are there things you wish you had done that you didn't out of loyalty that could have helped you win and you didn't do them? And those are all the different questions that we're examining on this season as it gets deeper and deeper in. I think that we already have seen some examples of it with Will and Kevin, and with Megan and Jackson, and certainly we're starting to see how it wears on other people like Leia. And Lucy at the end of this episode says something similar, that she has been playing the game in a not emotional way, but now come to find out a lot of her close friends in real life are blindsiding her, planning to vote her out. And it does hurt. It does hurt. So, we'll have to see how all these people deal with it. But I think that would be my defense of Leia's strategy so far, some of the things she's expressing. But I mean, as you see, Sam doesn't like that at all. And he doesn't really take to what she's saying. And so we'll have to see what comes of that.
yeah, I guess it's one of those situations where, like, if you haven't experienced it, you will not understand it. Like, I haven't played a college Survivor, barely played any orgs, so I don't know this whole get voted up by your friends thing. So that's probably why I'm like, oh, stop talking about your friends. Why did you sign up to the show already? And then part of me is also like, well, it's not like you're bothering to make new connections with these people you never met. You're just sticking with the people you already know.
I mean, who are we saying that about? You're saying that about Leia?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think that's necessarily accurate. I mean, Leia and Emily B weren't very close friends before the game, and they're in a tight alliance now at this point. And there's other people like that as well. Will is another good example of someone Leia was really close with. He got voted out, but I don't think that it's that she's unwilling to make those connections. I think because she is a smart player and is a strategic player to a degree and wants to be doing those moves. But it's that the connections she did come in with, she might be less willing to sever those than other people, like a Cooper or a Sam, who are seemingly much more willing to cut anybody at any time if it will get them farther ahead. You know, I mean, Cooper and Sam are obviously close friends in real life as well, but we see that doesn't stop Sam whatsoever from coming after Cooper this episode, or Cooper going after Sam in the previous episodes.
I guess it's all based on how you view the game and whether you can separate it or not.
Right. Yeah, and that's you know, I'm glad that it would be a boring show, I think, if every character had the same point of view on this, you know? So you know, the audience is going to take to it different ways, and some people are going to find Leia's strategy really abhorrent. Some people are going to find it enjoyable. Some people probably think that Cooper or Sam or Jackson's strategies aren't good. It all just depends, and I think it's a good thing to have a diversity of strategies in a game like this.
Yeah, we don't want to all just game bot people.
Right,
Imagine
exactly.
a game of nothing but Coopers and Sams.
Yeah, it'd be boring. You need some emotional players to stir the pot and make it dramatic, you know?
Yeah, we need some Leias, some Aarons, some... Who's another emotional player? Some Kevins, some Wills.
Kevin. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
So with that, we get to everyone's favorite challenge, not before we get another tribe swap. And we're back to 3.
Yeah,
we just missed O'Dowd so much.
Yeah, and we forget it because so much other crazy stuff happens in this episode. But the tribe swap back to 3 was also a pretty shocking moment, I think, that most people didn't seem to be expecting.
Yeah, so what made production do the back to 3 tribes and also this 2 people go at 1 tribal twist?
I mean, we wanted to do some kind of double tribal type thing because it was made for such good TV in season 3 with the Rocks tribal. And so it had been something that we've done in Survivor Michigan that season, and we felt like we could bring it back and do it in a slightly different way so it wasn't exactly the same. And we also liked the idea that with the merge coming up, you could kind of force people to start playing the merge early by doing a twist like this. And now it's kind of already... This is kind of like the first merge vote in a lot of ways. People are already thinking about the merge in terms of what kind of moves they want to make. As for the 3 tribes, we didn't want to stay in any one set tribes for too long in this season. We didn't want to lead to any one group really having power for too long in the tribe portion of the game. And personally, I'm glad we did this because I think both tribes, well, no, if New Sangria had gone back to tribal, it would have been very interesting. If New Pawnee had gone to tribal, Kevin would have just been voted out. So, I mean, maybe something else happens, but I think it's highly likely Kevin is voted out in a pretty boring / even maybe unanimous fashion. New Sangria would have been more interesting. It's kind of hard to say what would have happened there because Sarah and Nick and Bree were, to my knowledge, their plan in weakening Aaron and Jackson's group and flushing Jackson's idol was to flip back the next week and work with Jackson. That's why they saved him. So it would be interesting to see what happened there. But in the grand scheme of things, I'm glad we did it this way because, again, it just mixes people up again. And I don't know. I thought it was a good decision, but some people might have preferred we stayed in 1 tribe or 2 for longer.
No, I like the one I went back to 3. Try to swap after every challenge.
I'm not totally opposed to that, but it would make for some... no, I am opposed to that. You need at least a couple votes in the tribe.
Yeah, well, I've only seen that done once, but to be fair, it was like a cast of 15, and it was like vote, tribe swap, vote, merge.
Yeah, we like to keep, the players on their toes as well. We don't want them to see what's coming.
Yeah.
And
Can't let them get comfortable.
No.
Speaking of doing things getting uncomfortable, the scavenger hunt. What were some of these challenges? Shave your head, get a tattoo.
Yeah, again, this season is about how far will you go. You know, this is not just the regular scavenger hunt from season 2. Back then, it was like, oh, kissing under the arch, what a huge deal. That's small potatoes. All of these people would do that. But who's willing to go the extra mile? Who will shave their head for Survivor? Who will get a tattoo, a permanent tattoo, you know, for Survivor? And, you know, how far will you go? That's what this challenge is all about. Will you do a bear crawl? The bear crawl around the entire track, 4 laps?
Which has now been proven that it is possible, so there you go, Dale.
It is possible, yeah. But only Andrew successfully completed it. No one else was able to do it.
Did anyone even try?
Yeah, Sam tried, and I believe Kevin tried as well, and they both gave up. They were like, this can't be done. So it is possible, but
I would get a Survivor tattoo. I would not shave my head.
I mean, I think I would rather shave my head. Like, hair grows back. At least mine is currently growing back, knock on wood. But like getting a tattoo, it's a very permanent thing. So, you know, I feel that Adam totally deserved to win that challenge for doing that for his tribe.
Yeah, hands down to Adam. Massive amount of respect, and that's stuff that I would vote for a winner too. Like, he shaved his head for this game.
Yeah.
He got permanent ink on his body, which I don't know what's wrong with Bailey. That was a cool tattoo.
Yeah. Oh no, I agree. I think it was cool as well.
If I were to get a Michigan related one, I'd either get check your emails somewhere.
Check your emails.
That would probably be one I do, or I think an obvious one would be dogs gotta eat.
That would be good as well, yeah. I mean, speaking of that, this challenge is also a great opportunity to bring back a lot of our favorite players who, you know, didn't get a chance to be on All-Stars. So we got to have or didn't want to be. So, you know, we got some fun cameos from the winners. We got Camila, we got Lavana, Nicolas. We got a bunch of fan favorites back for one last go around.
Lavana doesn't know what confessional is. I'm convinced that there's like a twin. Lavana's a twin, and there's the twin that played Survivor, and then there's the one who didn't play. And we just keep seeing the one that didn't play.
that would explain it. Lavana definitely doesn't have the strongest memories of her time playing Survivor, that's for sure. I won't say her memory in general, but definitely playing Survivor, she doesn't really remember doing it.
It was like a fever dream.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got to say a lot. We got to say all the winners. Dylan again.
Yeah, who was your favorite? Who was your favorite to see?
Trying to think. Who do I actually? I don't want to admit this, but Dale was hilarious.
That's good. That's good. But Dale gets a lot of hate. Dale gets a little bit too much hate from certain corners of the fan base, and I think that Dale deserves his credit because he is hilarious.
Yeah, he is. He grew on me throughout the season. I was one of those people that constantly complain in the comments. I never complained about the editing. I only complained about the cast.
Fair enough. That's good. That's good.
I think the most surprising would probably be Angela because she's still around.
Yeah, she's still around.
I thought she'd be one of those people that just did Survivor and then faded in the back. Not faded in the background. Just like was never seen again.
Nope. I mean, well, she wasn't like super involved really, but she was still on campus and was still available for people to talk to.
And I think another cool thing was just like the whole Sarah, Avery, and Camila meeting because it's like,
yeah, that's very fun. It's big like Avengers crossover energy. Like,
yeah,
you know, when else are we gonna get a Sarah, Avery, and Camila meeting? So.
Yeah, it's like very Marvel, just like, oh, it's like you're in the same universe, but not in the same world.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah.
Also, these reasons on why these people lost, some of them were legit, and then some were just like, should have seduced Jackson more. He got beat out by Megan of all people. That's weird to say.
Yeah. I mean, that was part of Camila's strategy. She was trying to seduce Jackson at one point, and it didn't work, so. Maybe if she had tried harder.
Yeah, it's like everyone on her tribe was either gay older or in a relationship.
Yeah, that was tough. That was a
Wait, there was
tough draw
literally
for her.
no. I don't think there was any guy on her season that she could have flirted with because they were either
Um,
older, in a relationship, or gay.
yeah, I mean, it would have been like Jackson. I think all of the other guys in that season were either in a relationship or gay. Yeah. Or
Yeah,
I guess
so
you could have flirted with Tom. I'm not sure what Tom's relationship status was at the time.
oh yeah, Tom.
So she could
That's
have
a
gone with Tom, I guess. But I'm not sure
yeah.
how in the game.
Uh,
So
that
don't
would have been
know.
funny. And then you get your standards ones like hug Brady because he needs it, impeach Brady because he needs it.
Yeah, impeach Brady. One season only, half a season.
um, clean your house, which I'm surprised. I'm not surprised it's a state. I'm surprised that everyone was surprised it was a state. Like I expect a house full of frat guys just to be covered in shit.
Well, we were not in the frat, to be fair.
Just any house of
So
guys.
yeah,
Y'all don't
that's
clean.
no. I mean, they shouldn't have been surprised only because everyone from Survivor had been to our house a bunch of times. And the reason that was actually very controversial, people did not want that task to be in, basically. Like everyone else in the club was like, okay, first of all, it's unfair for Cooper because like it's somehow biased in his favor that it hits his house that's being cleaned. And I was like, no. And second of all, I was like, you know how many Survivor parties we've had at our house? This is the least these people can do for us. Like the Survivor Michigan people would treat our house like an amusement park. Come in, trash it, leave multiple times a week. They just treat it like a free for all. Come in, drink our booze, eat our snacks, make a giant mess, leave. Nothing ever had. We never asked anything of them. This is the
Get the
one
cops
time
called.
get the cops called. Right. I was like, we're gonna have them clean our house. Yes, and if you in the bonus footage that will be released, in the bonus footage, you'll be able to find a fun clip of Andrew refusing to clean our house, which I found to be the height of disrespect, honestly. And I felt that his tribe deserved to lose the challenge just for that alone, for his
Yeah,
disrespect
they actually
towards production.
won.
He clearly didn't respect production enough.
Yeah, his tribe actually won, but you made the executive decision like we're going to make you guys lose just for that.
Yeah,
Speaking of
that's
Andrew,
true.
your
That's
house
true.
and
That's canon.
speaking of Andrew, your house and messes and the cops, we need to. I'm starting a poll on whose fault it was the cops are called. Was it Andrew's house or
The
Cooper's
answer is
house?
Andrew's house.
Okay, so that's 2 for
A
Andrew's, 1 for yours.
a definitive who said it was my fault?
Aaron. Well,
Okay,
not your fault, but Cooper.
Interesting. Well, it's not too late for me to go back, and give Aaron a purple edit and edit all of her scenes out of episodes 1 through 5. So she might want to watch what she has to say,
Maybe she knew she wasn't lasting long, so she knew it was safe to say.
Yeah. She should be careful. Crouch should also be careful. I see him messaging. He's still in the game, so I can easily cut out all of his footage and make him look like the worst player in history. That would be very,
that's already
very
the
easy
case.
to do.
I'm kidding. Oh, this is another thing. What's with the whole Turovsky nice legs thing?
I
What was
believe
that
it's
thing?
a Keep Your Torchlit inside joke that during season 1 of Keep Your Torchlit, they thought Tarowski's legs were like on screen all the time. And so I guess we thought it'd be funny to just get a picture of Tarowski, like send Tarowski a picture of your legs. And Jazami has nice legs.
You mean
So
Keep Torch Your Lit?
that's right. Yeah, I'm sorry. I forgot they've rebranded. I'm a little out of the loop these days. Keep Torch Your Lit. That's right.
I actually didn't even notice it in the episode title. I just read it as Keep Your Torch Lit. I didn't notice the misgrammar.
I had a few people text me. They were like, "What a you bunk! Like, how did you mess that up? You didn't notice that you put the words wrong." I was like, "Keep watching."
Yeah, I didn't put them wrong. Lucy did.
Yeah.
Also, I would say Stitch and Poke is much worse than an actual tattoo.
I can't speak to it. I probably wouldn't do either. But they both seemed. I mean, Lucy looked like she was in pain doing it, so I don't know. It didn't seem like a fun thing to do.
Especially when you misspell it and it's like it's permanently on you now. Well, I don't know if this Stitch and Poke is permanently on you.
It's not clear, but that's a little up in the air. It's a little mysterious.
Oh, another thing, we get a lot of cute Jackson and Megan moments.
That's right. This is a big episode for the Megan and Jackson shippers because they haven't actually been in a scene together before this episode this season.
Yeah, they were saying like them cuddling on a bench full of bird shit was their first time filming together.
Yeah. I in a lot of ways, I think it actually worked out really well that was the case because it meant that when you do finally see them, it's like something that you want as the audience is to see them get, hang out together in the show. And by delaying that gratification, it makes it like more exciting and a more fun scene when we do see them together in such a fun way, like doing these different tasks together, swimming in the fountain, and of course
That had
the end.
no water.
Yeah, of course the scene at the end where Megan, you know, is the one that sees through this ruse from Kevin and Adam and warns Jackson that the idol they've given him is fake. One of my favorite scenes in the whole season, probably.
Yeah, oh, that was a lot. Speaking of Kevin, so the whole mystery these past few episodes have been who has the real Pringle idol, Emily or Andrew. I keep wanting to say Emily B, but now there's only one Emily, so I don't need to say it anymore. And I've been saying from the beginning that both those idols were fake. And I thought I was proven right when it was revealed that Kevin had the real idol. Only to find out that no, this Pringle idol is not on Kevin's. For all we know, it probably still hasn't even been found yet.
So, I mean, there was, a lot of people who theorized Kevin had it, and I was happy to see people theorizing that because that was exactly the breadcrumbs that I wanted people to think. Like the people who were going to dig deep into it, I thought I wanted them to think that Kevin had it because of the plot line in this episode, where for dramatic purposes, we need to believe that Kevin has an idol for the story to work properly. And if we there were versions of the episode where we knew that Kevin did not have an idol the whole time, and it was not as good. It just didn't play as well. The scene with Jackson begging Kevin for the idol felt completely pointless, and the Kevin and Adam's plan was a lot harder to follow as an audience member. It actually turned out to be easier to just make it clear that what they want their plan to be is to give both Jackson and Lucy an idol. And they sort of, once they realize they can't do that, just kind of go through with it anyways in this more ass backwards kind of convoluted scheme. And it just felt like I like to put the audience in different players' eyes and see the game through how they are seeing it. And in this episode, I decided that Jackson was going to be our point of view for the last couple scenes. And we're going to go through his journey. We're going to see him believe that he's being given an idol. And that makes sense to us. And then only for him to find out it's fake. And so the confusion that's hitting him in that moment is the same confusion that's hitting us. I know that there are some people who feel this was like a plot twist too many and that you shouldn't like directly lie to the audience and say someone has an idol who doesn't. But again, I consider it like a one episode kind of thing. Like it all happens in the context of this episode. At the beginning of the episode, nothing has really changed. Like at the beginning of the episode, either Andrew or Emily has this idol, and that's what we believe. At the end of the episode, either Andrew or Emily has this idol, and that's what we believe. In the middle, there's this shenanigans with Kevin maybe having it. But
so it's still either Andrew or Emily has it.
Going forward, it's still either Andrew or Emily.
I'm still going to say neither of them have it.
I mean, yeah, that's after this episode, I don't begrudge people thinking that. But from the point of view of what we are being told in the show, either Andrew or Emily has that idol. And everything to do with Kevin having it was mainly for the sake of like the plot in this episode and just the way that it played. It just was a lot more engaging if you believe that Kevin had the idol.
Yeah, so I think we should start getting into this convoluted plan. So Odal wins, so yay. 2 of my draft picks are safe. And Sangria and Pawnee go into tribal. So on these tribes, it's Cooper, Bailey, Bree, Nick, Sarah, Lucy, Jackson, Leia, Jesse, Andrew.
Yep.
So the main plan is for a group of 8/7 come together and agree on pretty much 2 people to go home. And it seems like it's everyone bar Jackson and Lucy.
Yes, that's correct. There's 3 plans in operation. The first one, the main one, is that the majority is going to split their votes 4-4 on Lucy and Jackson. And that's what seemingly everyone's on board with. But obviously, multiple different factions within that group don't really want to do that. And so they decide to do other things or tip off certain people.
Yeah, so yeah, plan A is the split between Jackson and Lucy.
That's right.
And now I have plan B. I literally was at work writing this stuff down, trying to make sense of it. So plan B, Cooper and Bailey, I think those are the main two, would rather, and Bree a little, would want to keep Jackson and get rid of Sarah and Lucy.
Yes, but that never really gets any traction. So that does not end up like happening by the end of the episode.
So we get to see more of plan C, where, what's plan C again?
And this is when Sarah and Jackson get into the mix and decide to blindside. They decide to blindside Jesse with a very contingent plan, depending on where the votes are split.
Yeah, so Sarah, Jackson get Nick and Andrew to split their votes where Jesse and Lucy goes home. No matter which plan happens, it looks like Lucy's not in good water at the moment. But it depends on...
I suppose, but in the final plan, we see that Sam, Adam, and Kevin are going to give Lucy an idol. So maybe she'll be okay if she plays this idol.
Plays it. Yeah, so that's plan C/D, where Adam gives Lucy his idol, gives Jackson what we believe is an idol, we find out it's a fake, to where they're both supposed to vote off Cooper, but really the Sam and Adam plan, is for Jackson and Cooper to go. But then Jackson finds out his idol is fake because Megan somehow remembers a necklace in Adam's room. Great memory skills, Megan. And find out that idol is fake. And that's where it's all left.
Yep. Yes, so that more or less sums it up. Going into tribal, the majority is going to split their votes. Depending on where those votes are split, Sarah, Jackson, Nick, and Andrew may or may not vote for Jesse instead of Jackson. On top of that, Jackson has been offered this plan from Kevin and Adam that involves him and Lucy voting for Cooper, with Lucy playing an idol, and according to them, Jackson also playing an idol that he then finds out is a fake idol. So a lot of this is going to come down to what is Jackson going to do? Where are those votes actually split? Is Lucy going to play her idol? Is the idol that she was given a real idol? What kind of chaos might ensue if Lucy and Jackson announce their idols, which is what Adam and Kevin have asked them to do? So there's a lot of balls up in the air and a lot of different directions that this could go.
Yeah, well, Lucy loves balls. She loves to give them. She loves... I was about to say take them. That's... No. This is not Survivor OnlyFans. That's a different episode.
Yeah. So that's where we leave off, basically, with this Operation Forced Hibernation. Basically, on the doorstep of the merge. It was Adam who says this. This is what him and Kevin christen their plan.
And then the whole codename Kids Next Door.
Yeah.
Which I sadly never watched because I don't have access to it over here.
That's tough. It's a great show. You should check it out on YouTube or something.
I've only seen one episode/movie, and it traumatized me as a child, and it's when they all turned into zombies.
Oh, yeah.
And that's why I never watched the show.
Fair enough. That's a pretty terrifying episode. Makes sense.
Yeah, trauma.
But yeah, I mean that's the episode. It was a crazy one for sure. And this is this episode and the next episode together are sort of the turning point of the season, of the two halves of this season. And I think together they shift us from the early game into, the mid game and the merge portion of the game, basically, where it's, more shenanigans is going to ensue, more drama is going to go down. To a certain extent, I would say that the real story of the season hasn't even really started yet. but that's how much more drama and craziness there is to come.
I mean,
So
we still have 13 more people to go through.
that's right. I mean, we're actually, in terms of episodes, there's going to be 15 episodes. So we're not even halfway through yet. We're a little over a third of the way through
Yeah.
in terms of the number of episodes.
I do want to ask, so next episode, it's starting with tribal, and then is it also going to be a tribal at the end of the episode? Or is it more the beginning of episode 7 is more strategy talk and the end is this double tribal?
I'm not gonna say. I'll let people watch for
cannot
themselves.
reveal.
There will be at least one tribal council in the next episode. I can
Yeah.
promise you that. Some people have said, "Oh my God, it's gonna be another episode without tribal." No. There will be a tribal council in the next episode. I promise you. And I will not do this sort of cliffhanger again. There will be a tribal count. There will be at least one tribal council in every episode for the rest of the season.
Yes, if there is 2, then we have a potential of losing 3 people in one episode. That's one way to speed up the season.
I suppose, yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's if you're like me and you don't believe these 2 people are actually going home, and you do believe it's this exile twist.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard that. I've also heard there's people saying that they think there's going to be a some kind of redemption island or some kind of comeback challenge. So I don't know.
I usually hate those, but I kind of want it to happen just so if Eren does return and the shit show would cause. I need that to exist now. I know it doesn't, but and I'm usually not a fan of redemption twists. Never do them.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't say. What could or could not happen on the rest of the season. But
the only thing you can say is that it is worth watching.
Yes, and even if you felt burned by this last episode, I would encourage you to keep watching. There's a lot of really, really great stuff to come. Some crazy strategy and some of the craziest and I would say like most dramatic Survivor that you'll ever see coming down the stretch. So I would definitely stick with it. And as Cooper said in this episode, there's a lot more tears to come.
Yeah, this is only the beginning. We thought like last episode or like the last 3 with Eren bawling her eyes every 3 seconds, that was a lot. We haven't even gotten to the merge yet, and more people are going to cry. More hearts will be broken.
Yes.
And I suppose that's all to talk about this episode. A lot to get through with a no tribal episode.
Yeah. And yeah, it was a crazy one for sure. But I've appreciated the feedback, and I'm glad to see that people are excited about it. And even though some people are very angry, that shows they care. It's better that people have strong feelings about it than have no feelings at all. So it shows that people care enough about the show to be mad at it, which is in its own way kind of gratifying. So I prefer that their emotions they express are like, love and passion, but anger and being irritated, you only will get mad about something that you care about. So that makes me feel good in a certain way as well. That it is. I knew this season was going to be somewhat controversial from the get-go. There are just some of the things that happened in it were going to be
name a Survivor season that isn't.
Yeah, and I guess I decided that this editing choice I knew would be controversial. I think it will be the most controversial editing choice. I don't think anything else that happens after this will be as controversial as this was. So at least editing wise, yeah, I think editing wise, this is definitely the peak of the like really crazy editing stuff, and it gets a little more normal from here on out. But it's Survivor Michigan and it's All Stars, so we do want to still keep you on your toes.
Yeah, I mean the only thing that I didn't like about this episode that just made me late for class.
I'm sorry about that.
That's because I have to watch it in the morning. I can't wait till the evening.
You gotta check that Discord. You don't want to see the spoilers.
Yeah, exactly. I wake up, turn on the Michigan episode, watch an hour and a half, realize, I have to head to college now. I don't play in a college Survivor, and it's still affecting my school. Is this what it's experienced like?
Thank you for having me. I'm sorry that
Yeah.
there wasn't a usual guest for you to have this week because there was no one voted off, but you should have a plethora of guests to choose from next time. So,
Yay! And no worries. If any episode is like a big editing episode, I have to get the creator on.
of course, yeah, I'm happy to come back anytime, and happy to answer any questions. I'm sure after episode 7, there will still be people after me with pitchforks and torches. So, I don't expect it
Yeah.
will satisfy everyone because it would be impossible to do that, but I'm hoping it will satisfy at least some
Yeah.
of the people who are upset about this.
Yeah. Just like this episode, you can't please everyone. There's one person that won't agree on sending this certain person home. Like trying to schedule something. No one can agree on a date.
Yeah. No spoilers, but yeah. Sometimes that's tough as well.
Yeah. Well, thanks Ian for coming on. Thanks everyone for watching. If you want more Survivor Michigan content, if the cliffhanger didn't just push you off the cliff, like I'm never watching it again, check out Survivor Michigan. Episodes premiere Wednesday nights. It's Thursday morning for me.
Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Where you can catch episode 7 and finally be relieved of the answer of who goes home in this double tribal episode. The one thing I'm praying for is like I hope we didn't get all this build up hype and it is just Jackson and Lucy going home, which I feel like is going to happen.
I can't say. I couldn't say.
I'll just have to watch the next episode and find out.
You will, yeah.
Yeah. Bye everyone.